Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the November 3rd, 2021 virtual meeting of Chatham's Historic Business District Commission. My name is Daniel Silver, and currently I am the chairman. Hopefully this meeting will unfold as follows. As soon as Sarah Clark, the Central Permitting Coordinator, finishes reading the governor's directions concerning these virtual meetings, we'll do a roll call of the members who are present, and we'll be reviewing the applications this afternoon. As soon as that is done, the first order of business will be the minutes, and once the minutes are approved, we'll move right on to the application. And we ask that as soon as our clerk, Sam Stribert, reads your application, that you make your presence known, and we'll move on from there. So as I said, the first order of business will be a roll call, and we have our vice chair, Darcy Sequin, is here.
Darcy Sequin is here.
Our clerk, Sam Stribert.
Sam Stribert is here.
Okay, regular member, Bob Burns.
Bob Burns is here.
Okay, let's see. We got Steve DuBois is here.
Yes, Steve DeBoer is here.
Okay, he's our first alternate. And Doug Gratton is not with us, nor is Janet Wintermore, but we do have a
No, I'm here.
form.
I'm here.
I see
Oh, are you? I'm sorry.
Yep, they're
Yeah,
both
Doug-
here.
Do you have your camera?
an empty chair right at the moment.
Oh, gosh. Trying to get my camera going. I'll have to troubleshoot here.
Okay, that's all right, Janet, as long as we know you're here.
Okay.
All right. So we have a quorum. Now, as I said, the minutes to be reviewed. and
Dan, I'm
approved
just
are
going to
those-
read the directive real quick.
Excuse
that?
me?
I just need to read the directive real quick for people out.
Oh,
there.
I'm sorry, Sarah. Yeah, go ahead.
Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording the meeting, please notify the chairman. This meeting of the Historic Business District Commission is being conducted remotely in accordance with Section 20 of Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021 and shall afford adequate alternative means of public access via Microsoft Teams by calling the phone number 1-508-945-4410, conference ID 184-514-573, pound, or join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link in the posted agenda. Despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide for real-time access, and we will post a record of the meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. In accordance with town policy, the public can speak to any issue or hearing or business item on the agenda during the meeting when recognized by the chair.
Thank you, Sarah. Sorry for forgetting you. But anyway, in the meantime, we're going to do another roll call because we do have several other members with us. So as I said, my name is Daniel Silver. I'm the current chairman. Obviously, I am here. Then we have Darcy Sequin, our vice chair. Darcy, you're still with us, right?
Darcy's still here.
Sam Stribert, he's still with us, right?
Sam Stribert's still here.
Bob Burns is here.
Bob Burns still here.
Doug Gratton is here.
Doug Gratton is here.
Steve DuBois is here.
Steve DeBoer is here.
All right. And Janet Whittemore is here. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Doug Gratton is our first alternate. Steve DuBois, first alternate. Steve DuBois is what, our second? Right.
I believe I remember now, Dan.
Oh, that's right too. Doug Gratton,
Yes.
you're a member, aren't you?
Yes.
So that makes Steve DuBois first alternate and Janet Whittemore the second.
Yes.
Boy, I'll get on the line here. All right. All right. As I said now, our first order of business will be the minutes, and those are of October 20th. Is there anybody that has any comments or questions about the minutes?
I do have two things.
All right, Darcy.
The first is on page 3. I recused myself from application 21-083, and it sounds as though I recused myself from the previous application. So if we could just put Ms. Sequin recused herself from application 21-083, just so that's clear to everyone.
Very good.
And then on page 4, it says I voted for it, and I wasn't, and I recused myself. So if we could just take my name out of there on page 4. Same application.
Thank you, Darcy.
Okay.
Anybody else? Sam?
I'm all set.
Okay, Bob,
I'm fine. Thank you.
Doug Grattan,
No, Doug Grant would like to make a motion to accept the minutes as adjusted per Darcy's request regarding application 21-083, where Darcy is recused from the hearing.
I'll second the motion. Darcy Sequin seconds the motion.
okay, motion has been made and seconded. Okay, last chance for any questions or comments. Darcy, any further comments?
No further comments.
Sam Stryver,
No further comments.
Bob Burns,
Bob Burns, no further comments.
Doug Grattan,
Doug Grant, no further comments?
Steve DuBois,
Steve DeBoer, no further comments.
Janet Whitmore.
No further comments, Janet Whittemore.
All
Thank
right. Good to hear your voice, Janet. There you go. All right. Okay, ready to vote?
Okay.
All right, Darcy,
Darcy Sequin is in favor.
Sam Stryver,
Sam Stryver is in favor.
Bob Burns,
Bob Burns in favor.
Doug Grattan,
Doug Grant in favor.
Steve DuBois,
Steve DeBoer is in favor.
Janet Whitmore,
Janet Whittemore in favor.
and Dan Silver in favor as well. Very good, folks. All right, now we'll move on to the applications. And our first application, Sam.
I'm on a Zoom call. Do that.
You all set, Sam, our first application?
First application, I'm sorry, I got interrupted.
That's all right.
by the phone. It blows my mind. We're on signs, 21-087, Hanson Build Business Solutions, care of Barbara Hanson. Application to install a ladder sign to the existing ground sign located at 210-216 Orlean Road. And I might add that Sarah Clark, the Central Permitting Coordinator, has added that the proposed sign will replace an existing ladder board. The size of the existing ground sign was approved under appeals permit number 14-024 and does not require approval from the sign code appeals committee.
Very good. Thank you, Sam. All right,
Yep.
Barbara, I know you're here because earlier I saw two of you. I assume there's only one now. Have you got your camera on? Barbara? Uh-oh, have we lost Barbara?
Is she muted? Barbara,
She's
you
muted, yeah.
She's muted.
She's here. She's BH is there.
Yep.
Can you hit the little microphone at the bottom of the screen?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Barbara.
Oh my gosh, come on. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
yes, we can. Okay.
I'm sorry, I kept pressing the microphone and it wouldn't go off. So,
Okay, can you try your camera too?
wow.
Is there a little camera there?
well, it said when I pressed on the camera that it was going to disconnect my call and I didn't want to lose you guys.
Okay, fine. We'll work this way. We can work this way. Sarah can show us,
Okay, great.
I can show us, put up your application. So you're proposing a sign, right?
Yes,
And the sign is
Yes.
the same size as those that are there, right? Previously
Yes.
there?
Yep.
Okay. Very good. And they fit right in, it seems. All right, that
They
seems
do.
straightforward. That seems straightforward. So let's see what the commission members think about it. Darcy?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward to me. I'm good with it.
Okay, Sam Stryber?
As long as it's the same size as what was there before, I'm okay with it. Yep.
Bob Burns?
I'm fine with the sign.
Doug Grattan?
Yeah, I agree with Darcy. It's straightforward and, placement was there, so no questions.
Okay, Steve DuBois?
I'm fine with the proposal.
Okay, Janet Whittemore?
I'm also fine with the ladder sign.
Okay, and Dan Silver is as well. All right. So last chance for questions or comments. Darcy,
Darcy Sequin has no more comments or questions.
Sam Stryver,
Sam Schreiber has no more comments.
Doug Grattan,
Doug Grattan has no comments or questions.
okay, and Steve DuBois,
I have no further comments.
Janet,
Janet Whittemore has no further comments. Thank you.
and Dan Silver doesn't either. All right, so ready to vote?
I need to
Yeah.
make a,
We're voting, Janet.
Doug Grattan will make a motion for
Oh, I'm
application
sorry. All right, go ahead.
1-087 under signs for Hanson Business Solutions, care of Barbara Hanson. Application to install a ladder sign to the existing ground sign located at 21-0-216 Orleans Road, as presented.
Darcy Sequin will second the motion.
Okay, motion is made and seconded, and apparently no one has any further questions, so we'll go right to voting. I don't know who hit the crazy switch on my end, but I apologize, folks. Okay, Darcy.
Thank you.
Darcy Sequin votes in favor.
Right, Sam Stryver,
Sam Schreiber votes in favor.
Bob Burns,
Bob Burns in favor.
Doug Grattan,
Doug Grattan votes in favor.
Steve DuBois,
Steve DeBoer is in favor.
Janet Whittemore.
Janet Whittemore is in favor of the ladder sign.
Ready, excellent,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, Sam, our next application.
The next sign is 21-088 Hanson Business Solutions, care of Barbara Hanson. Application to install a wall sign on the structure located at 210 Orleans Road, units A and B. And Sarah Clark, the Central Permitting Coordinator, adds that the applicant is required to seek an appeals permit from the Sign Code Appeals Committee under the sign bylaw, section 225-19. If the applicant reduces the size of the wall sign to that which was approved under the appeals permit 14-025, 21.5 inches by 120 inches, 17.92 square feet, and no filing with the Sign Code Appeals Committee would be required.
Thank you, Sam. All right, Barbara, how you doing? You still with us?
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Hey, yes, certainly can. You're coming in loud and clear, very nicely. All right.
that's-
All right, so we have a picture of the sign.
Yes.
Same
So
size as
that
what was there
sign,
previously.
yeah, exactly. So the previous owner of the building had
Yeah,
a sign up there the same size as this. There's already this existing white background with the border.
yeah,
We're just looking to fill in that big white background, understanding it's going to need to go to appeals to do that. This building that we have was once 2 units, and I think that's why the sign was so big, but we have the whole building right now as did the previous owner, so we're just looking to fill in the white space.
all righty. Very good. I think we're familiar with the building and the situation down there. All right, let's see what comments we can get from the commissioners. Janet, would you like to start us off?
Yes, I would. I love the colors and the handsome, the sign itself is very handsome, but I'm very much against the length of the sign. And I'm very glad that they have to go to the appeals board. Building is right next to the post office. And there is, there appears to be, a board up there, but I drove around town all over the place, and there's no sign as big as this sign would be, and that's what I'm against, is the size. Everything else about it, I have no complaints about, but I would definitely, it's actually, if they went with what they want, it's a 29, it's 26.9 feet long. There's not a sign in town that would be comparable to that, except for Dunkin' Donuts, and that's a sore in our eye anyway. Okay, that's my comment.
Thank you, Janet. Steve DuBois?
Yeah, I sort of feel the same way. You know, if you look at the picture, though, it looks like there was a frame or a border around the previous sign, and this is just filling that same space. So I'm wondering how the sign prior to this one was approved and how it got to be this big. But I'm not convinced that this sign needs to fill that whole space. It is very long. It is 27 feet long. I think that could be scaled down to maybe almost half of that.
Thank you, Steve. Doug Grattan?
Well, I know the building, I know the size of the sign that was there previously. You know, frankly, I actually like the sign. I like the font. I like the lighthouse, and I like that it says what also they are doing. I think it fits well on the structure, and you know, certainly there's other places in town that wouldn't work, but I think in this location on this building, it is presentable and works for the site. So those are my comments.
Okay. Bob Burns?
Yeah, Barbara, can you pull up the sign again, Sarah? Thanks. I'd like to see the sign smaller. I think 27 feet is too long, so my recommendation would be is to probably make it smaller and eliminate the right side, the services on the right side. But I think it's too big.
Thank you, Bob. Sam?
Well, they're approved for 10 feet. So apparently if they made it 10 feet long, and they could center that, you remember this particular group of stores has this framed out section already attached to the building. So what the idea was that two people would occupy the building and two people would have their signs up here. So the intention originally was for two signs, and so that would be consistent with what we're recommending. Another thing they could do is not have a black background. They could have black letters on a white background, and that would reduce the impact. But I think they should go back to the 10 feet, which is, as I read from the permitting coordinator, they're already approved for that 10 feet. So that would be my recommendation, and I think they could also, but if they want to keep it black with white, I suppose I would go along with that. Anyway, there's my thoughts on the subject.
Sam, just for, as a correction, it's a navy blue or it's a dark blue background with white, as all the other signs in the building are. We're trying to
Navy blue would be
stay
fine.
similar with all the other signs.
Navy blue would be fine.
Okay.
It looks very black to me. I don't see these subtleties and color shades. It looks very black, but if you say it's navy blue, fine.
Okay. Darcy?
I'm going to agree with Doug on this. There was a sign there before. There is a board this would be mounted on, and I think the sign is very attractive. Even if there were two signs here, it would still take up the same amount of room. So I think it's a very well designed sign. And what they're saying is there's also training business consultants there. So I think they need to say all this. That's it. I like the sign. I think it's attractive.
Okay, Darcy?
Yeah, all set.
Yeah, I agree with everybody. I think the sign is overly large, but at the same time, I agree that it was meant for two businesses there. I think it's a very attractive sign, and I think that the lighthouse in the middle breaks the two of them up very efficiently. I could go either way on this, but I see no problems with it the way it is. It's a long sign, no question about it. But there looks like there's two signs there now with the proposal. So it isn't a continuous sign as far as I'm concerned. So anyways, all right. So let's get to voting. Let's first have a motion.
Doug
Doug?
Grattan, motion for application number 21-088, Hanson Business Solutions, care of Barbara Hanson, application to install a wall sign on the structure located at 210 Orleans Road, units A and B, as presented.
Darcy Seek will second the motion.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Last chance for comments or questions. Darcy,
No further comments.
Sam Stryber,
No further comments.
Bob Burns,
No further comments.
Doug Grattan,
No further comments?
Steve DuBois,
And no further comments.
Janet Whittemore.
I just want it clarified that this sign will not be that length, because I feel that if we allow for a 26-foot 0.9 or almost 27 feet signage, we're setting ourselves up for very massive signs in the future. And I think that this sign is oversized. I like everything else about the sign. I have no other problems with it, but I just want to make that point clear. And that's my feeling. Thank you.
Janet, do you have a solution for them? Or
Well,
Okay.
I guess it would depend on, the way we vote will indicate what we agree to. And it seems like there's a difference in within our committee here in terms of people think that the size of the length of the whole building like that is acceptable, and and then there's other information where they've already had to go for a special permit and they're only required so many. So it's so many feet. So I think the solution is still up in the air in terms of voting on this, right?
No, I'm asking you, if you don't like the length of it, what would you propose the owner do or the applicant do?
Yeah,
to
well,
make you happy?
normally I think I think a 27-foot sign is too long. I think what was the measurement again? I think that
Yep. Janet, the size that was approved by the Sign Code Appeals Committee, AKA the Zoning Board of Appeals,
okay.
21.25 inches high by 120 inches long.
Okay, so that's what we would be voting on. Is that right?
Not necessarily. The applicant does have the ability to seek relief from the Sign Code Appeals Committee for a sign this large.
Okay.
But the sign couldn't be installed until she went through the public hearing process with the zoning board on the signage.
Okay. Well, I know I went all around town and looked at everyone's sign, and there's no sign as large as this one. And I just think that if we allow this to go through, that in the future, it's going to be hard. We don't need commercial signs that large, I think. I know the woman's renting the entire building, but still, it's too large for Chatham. That's my feeling.
Okay, well, again, Janet, what would your solution to her be?
My
What would
solution would be to bring it down to the size that have been recommended. Let's see, I wrote it down here somewhere. 21 by 120, would be what I would find acceptable.
Okay.
A 27-foot long sign is too big.
Okay, Barbara, are you still with us?
I am.
Okay, what would you think of doing that?
I'd be
You'd have to
definitely
just
willing to
center it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't want it to look, I want it to be presentable on the building. I don't want it to look lost with the white background. And so I think what I'll do is I'll talk to Bob at Chatham Sign Shop who designed this and have him scale it down to that with the picture with that white background so I can get a visual as to what it's going to look like without having to reconstruct the side of the building.
Okay, Barbara, then my suggestion at this point is to ask for a continuance until our next meeting. And so that you can present that.
Okay.
Dan,
Dan, Darcy, just so you're aware, the voting members are yourself, Doug, Darcy, Sam, and Bob.
What about
Those are
that,
the
Sarah?
only votes. Those are the only votes that count on the application. The alternates aren't voting. It's only the 5 regular members voting today.
Oh, so you want to tell Barbara that? Yes. That make
Yes.
a difference. Barbara, do you understand what Sarah's saying?
Go ahead. Tell
Sorry,
me
it's
again.
only the 5 regular members voting today, which
Okay.
are Bob Burns, Sam Stribert, Darcy Sequin, Doug Grattan, and Dan Silver.
Okay. I'd like to go ahead with the vote.
Alrighty, very good.
Good.
Okay.
Dan, Darcy
Doug,
has
if
her hand raised.
yeah, I just wanted to say one thing, that we all have our opinions. And just because 1 or 2 people have a certain opinion and the others don't, or vice versa, it doesn't mean that the applicant has to do that. I think it counts with a vote. But she's got to understand that she has to get 3 votes. So Sarah, if you want to clarify that for Barbara.
Yes, Barbara, in order to have your application approved, you need 3 of the 5 voting members to vote in favor of the application. Otherwise, it would be denied and you would have to reapply.
Okay.
Dan, you want to take a poll?
Yeah, let's do a poll.
Okay. What are we doing a poll for, Darcy? Oh, who's going to vote for? I got you. Okay.
Yeah,
All right, we'll do a poll. Darcy?
Darcy would vote in favor.
Okay, Sam Stribert?
Votes no.
All right. Let's see, Bob Burns,
Votes no.
Doug Grattan.
Votes in favor.
Okay, and let's see, that leaves myself, right?
Steve? Oh, Steve doesn't.
Yes, we know.
What's that?
No, sorry. Go ahead. That leaves you.
That leaves me. So as I said, I'm on the fence. I think she's kind of opened up. Yeah, I would like to see the what Bob would come up with a 10-foot. So I guess at this time I would vote no, because she could turn around and come right back to us. So
Then she should vote, ask for continuance.
yeah. So Barbara, would you like to please ask for a continuance to our next meeting, which is what, Sarah?
It would be
3rd,
November 17th. Barbara, would
Yes.
would
Yes,
that give
I would
the
like
sign
to-
shop enough time?
I
Yes.
think so. Bob's pretty good. He's very
Okay.
quick with this turnaround. So yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's going to be straightforward, Barbara, really.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, I'm afraid in my opinion, I really like the sign. I know it's big. It looks like it's 2 signs, as if there were 2 units. They would try to make it look that way. My fear, and I'll know better after I talk with Bob and see what it looks like, is that we're going to take a small sign, put on this huge white background, and it's going to look tacky. And
Okay.
It's such a pretty area of town over here, this building. So I want it to really look nice.
Okay, Barbara.
But we'll
Yeah.
see what
Yeah.
Bob does design work.
Normally there'd be 2 signs up there separated a little bit. But, so anyways, and then if you don't have 2, then it looks off center or huge. So anyways.
Sure.
All right. So you have requested a continuance until our November 14th meeting. Is that correct?
November 17th?
Yeah, 17th, I'm sorry, yeah, 17th.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right, do we have a motion, Doug, to accept the request?
Doug Grant will make a motion that we accept the continuance requested by the applicant, Hanson Business Solutions, care of Barbara Hanson, for application number 21-088
Okay, and that's for the 17th, right, Doug?
for the 17th of November, correct?
Okay, very good. All right.
Darcy
have a
Sequin
second?
will Darcy Sequin will second the motion.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. All right, I think we've been through this enough, so I'm just gonna go through the votes. Janet Whitmore,
I don't have a vote. I had an opinion, but no vote.
okay. Doug Grattan, Steve DuBois, I'm sorry,
Steve DeBoer would vote in favor.
Doug Grattan,
Doug Grattan votes in favor.
Bob Burns,
Bob Burns votes in favor of the continuance.
Sam Strybert,
Votes in favor of the continuance.
Darcy Sequin,
Darcy Sequin votes in favor.
Dan Silver will vote in favor of the continuance as well. Thank you so much, Barbara. I'm looking forward to seeing this.
All right.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all very much.
You bet. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. I got rid of the signs, Sam, so where are we now?
Administrative approval, 21-89. Thomas Odell, care of Muto Incorporated, ratification of certificate of administrative approval to replace the roof on the main house located at 423 Main Street.
All right, Sarah, who went down there? That must have been Bob and Darcy again, or?
It was Bob and Darcy. And so they did a certainteed pewter wood.
Yep.
On just the main portion of it, where they were actually approved to install solar panels by the board
yeah.
previously.
Oh, all
So-
right. Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Okay, let's see. Darcy, do you have any questions? No, you wouldn't, would you?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. Bob Burns, you wouldn't either, would you?
No questions from Bob.
Sam Strybert?
No, I'm for this. Obviously, solar panels can't be installed on shingles, so on wood shingles. So they're having to replace where the solar panels are, I think.
All right. Bob Burns?
No questions.
Okay. Doug Grattan?
No questions.
All right. And Steve DuBois?
Steve has no questions.
Janet?
Janet Whittemore has no questions.
Dan Silver has no questions. All right, folks, ready to vote? All right, Janet,
I'm in favor of the Thomas Odell and ratification and certification of the administrative approval.
very good.
Do I need to make a
DuBois?
motion?
Yes, we do
Oh,
need a
yes,
motion.
please. Yeah.
I'm gonna make, so Doug Grattan will make a motion under administrative approval for application 21-089, Thomas Odell, care of Muto Inc., ratification of a certificate of administrative approval to replace the roof on the main house located at 423 Main Street as presented.
Darcy Sequin will second the motion.
Okay, thank you. What do we got, a blue moon or something tonight? I'm way off here. Okay. Geez. All righty, Janet, now we'll vote.
Janet can't vote.
Okay,
Yeah,
this is Steve DuBois.
I would vote to approve.
All right, Doug Grattan,
Doug Grattan would vote to approve.
Bob Burns,
Bob Burns approves.
Sam Strybert,
Sam Strybert approves.
Darcy Sequin, you already approved, right?
Darcy Sequin approves.
And Dan Silver approves as well. Phew, got through that. All right, let's try the second one, see if that works any better.
21-90, Chatham Pottery, care of George Avery Carpentry, ratification of certificate of administrative approval to replace the roof on the structure located at 2058 Main Street.
Was this the usual suspects?
Nope, this one was Darcy and Doug.
Oh,
So
wow.
just replacing the
Alright.
main roof with weathered wood.
Oh, okay. All righty. Well, let's see if there's any questions. I know Darcy doesn't have any questions.
Oh, definitely needed a roof.
Sam Stryver?
Sam Stryver has no questions.
Okay, Bob Burns,
Bob Burns, no questions.
Doug Grattan,
No questions.
Steve DuBois,
I have no questions.
Janet Whittemore,
I have no questions.
Dan Silver has no questions. Who did I miss? Somebody? No? Right.
No.
Very good. Ready to vote? Janet?
Make a motion?
Oh, yeah.
Doug
Jeez.
Grattan,
All right.
a motion?
Thank you, Doug, for speaking up. If it wasn't for you guys.
For
I'd be at the
administrative
meeting.
approval for 21-090 Chatham Pottery, care of George Avery Carpentry. Ratification of a certificate of administrative approval to replace the roof on the structure located at 2058 Main Street as presented.
Darcy Sequin will second the motion.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. Here we go again. Janet?
I'm in favor.
Okay. Steve DuBois,
Steve DeBoer would vote to approve.
Doug Grattan,
Doug Grattan votes to approve.
Bob Burns,
Bob Burns votes to approve.
Sam Stryver,
Sam Stryver votes to approve.
Darcy Sequin,
Darcy Sequin votes to approve.
and Dan Silver vote to approve rather. Very good. All right. Now we're on to some serious business here. Thank you, folks. And thank you for speaking up too. Thank you, Doug. Sam. We on
So
to
we have a pre-application conference, Town of Chatham, pre-application conference to discuss the public utility improvements located at 10 Queen Anne Road.
All right, Sarah, who's doing this one? Oh, it's like Bob.
Good afternoon, members of the H.B.D.C. I'm Dr. Robert Duncanson, Director of Health and Natural Resources for the town of Chatham. And I am also the project manager for our comprehensive wastewater management plan. I'm just going to take a quick second to introduce this to you, and then I'm going to turn it over to Ben Watkins from GHD, who is our engineer, our project engineer on this project. You may all be familiar because you probably pass it every day, but you may not realize it. There is a wastewater pumping station right at the intersection of Old Queen Anne Road and Oyster Pond Furlong. It basically is in the parking lot for the Chatham Village Market CVS complex. It doesn't look like much now, just a series of green structures, and we'll show you some pictures of that in a minute. We are working with GHD on an upgrade to that station. That station is one of our original ones, which was built back in the 1969, 1970 timeframe. It's been upgraded a little bit over the years, but it needs a substantial upgrade to utilize today's technology and also to increase the capacity of the station. As we sewer more areas within Chatham, that station will be receiving additional flow over the next several years. And so we need to upgrade it and both increase the capacity of the station as well as bring it up to today's type of technology. And so obviously the station is located within the H.B.D.C area, so we need to come to your board. So we wanted to just take this opportunity to kind of brief you on where we currently are in the design process, and then see if you have any feedback of any issues that we need to pursue or address as we move forward with this. So with your permission, I will turn it over to Ben Watkins. We have a short PowerPoint presentation for you, and then we'll be happy to take any questions or comments at the end of that. We also have Jeff Gregg on the line as well, who is also a senior project manager with GHD, who's been working with us going on more than a decade now on our comprehensive wastewater plan and some of the other pump stations and all that we've built throughout town. So with that, I will turn it over to Ben and let him run through the PowerPoint presentation.
Welcome, Ben, and thank you, Bob.
Yep. Thanks, Bob. Hello, everyone. As Bob stated, my name's Ben Watkins with GHD, the project manager for the Town of Chatham Queen Anne Pump Station upgrade project. And just before I get into presentation, but everyone can see my screen, okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
At least I can, yeah.
Okay. Yep. I'm going to jump into presentation mode, and I'll be able to kind of go through
Alrighty.
each of these slides. It's going to change my viewpoint a little bit. So let me click on here. All right. Everyone can still see the main first slide.
Yes, it's larger, thank you.
Okay. Yep. Just to give a high level overview, I'm going to go through, we go through a quick intro. Bob's pretty much already ran through our project upgrade at a high level. Going to go through the existing site on a recent survey we had done, as well as a bunch of pictures. We're going to run through some preliminary designs and, get the opinion of the Historical Business District Commission. We're going to go through some example photos of what we would typically see from the preliminary designs. And then, yeah, we can have a questions and answers at the end.
Thank you.
So let's jump into our next slide. All right, so this is the drawing of the existing pump station. And as you can see, it's a very small site, approximately 28 feet by 22 feet. Everyone can see my cursor right here, approximately 28 feet by 22 feet. This would be existing wet well and pump station currently right here. And we have the generator in the back. We have some electrical panels currently mounted here. And there is shrubbery lining the back portion of the site, as well as some in the front, as well as a large tulip tree located right about here. So let's jump into some pictures, and I'm sure this will jog everyone's. Yep. So that large tulip tree pretty much covers the current site, which is pretty hard to see in this kind of grainy Google Imager image. But yeah, this is kind of where it's located at the intersection of Queen Anne Road and Oyster Pond Furlong. Yep. So here's a couple of images from across the street of Queen Anne Road. You can kind of see from the angle looking in to the parking lot of the market and the CVS pharmacy, as well as across the street. And this is looking towards Oyster Pond Furlong coming up here. Yep. This is a side view as you start to enter the parking lot. You can see the tree right here. And this is if you enter the parking lot and take a left into these first two spaces. This is the back view. As you can see, the equipment is kind of surrounded by the shrubbery right here. Yep, this view right here is from the Oyster Pond Furlong side. And you can see just the shrubbery and the main tree kind of concealing this site, as well as when they start going down towards the parking spaces, you can see this retaining wall, and they have the shrubbery continuing and some mulch as well. And this is a closer view of the current pump station. So we got the wet well and pump station sitting right here. This would be the generator in the back. And we have some control panels, and as well as control panels and telemetry currently located all right here. And you can see it's a very tight site. This guardrail ends pretty much right behind that generator. We have our gas service coming in right here. And, there's really not much room at all on the current site to maneuver and then add additional equipment as is. So we also just have a closer up image of the previous, and this would be as you're entering the parking lot, just kind of a look inside. You can see how tight everything is to each other. For our first preliminary site layout, this site layout is assuming that if we had to put the current design that we have, for this would be the new wet well. It's a larger wet well based on the increase in flow capacity that the pump station is going to need to see. And the pumps and enclosure would be sitting right on top of the new wet well. This is sitting over the existing pump station. So for that to be constructed, you would need to excavate and remove the existing pump station. And we would need to keep the pump station site in operation. So we'd be bypass pumping during construction. But to see if we were going to be this would be a fence around this area. It's very tight. Likely this would need to be extended out a little bit more. This is in the shape of the proposed generator, a new generator for the site. The generator have to be the existing one has to be upsized to accommodate the new pumps. So this right here would likely have to be extended out to get the clearances you would be required for this generator. So this site right here with this fence is still very tight, and it still may not be enough before we'd have to start coming into this first parking space right here. The next preliminary site layout option, this would be assuming that if we had to move into this parking space right here, which is hashed, we would be able to put the new wet well and pump station over to the back side of the site. And the benefit of this is this would allow us to have the existing pump station right here still be in operation during construction of the new pump station, until you would need to transfer over the gravity sanitary piping and the force main piping from the old to the new. This right here would just be a back fence, which would block view into the site. And with this option, we wouldn't have to fence necessarily all the way around it. We could add shrubbery, the tall skinny trees. We could add, we could look at different plans to kind of conceal this site a little bit better around the outsides.
I have a question.
Yep, go ahead.
Where would you put the gas line? I noticed that it was so close before to that parking lot. All I can see is somebody driving into that.
Yep, so there's a couple different variations that are currently assessing where so the gas line itself is coming from this side of Oyster Pond Furlong. And if we ran it across the street and came over here, there could be a potential to put the gas-driven generator on this side. Or if we decided to keep it on this side, you could have the generator over here as well. This is a guardrail currently right here. That same guardrail style, that wooden guardrail style that is existing on the site currently. So these are all still preliminary. We don't have a definitive design picked out yet, but we wanted to, meet with you folks and kind of get your opinions on just some of these preliminary site layouts prior to moving forward. Just to continue on, for a second parking space, if we could get that second parking space, it would allow us to, have even more room and more options to move around. Say, the generator potentially could be on the back side if we had the right clearances for it. We could move this guardrail and curbing back here. And this will all be contingent upon, so the town has put in a request for an easement for the parking spaces, and they're waiting to hear back on that. All right. Going to continue to the next slide. So
So
some
Ben,
Yep.
Ben, real quick, you would prefer to take possession of those 2 parking spaces to make this site more workable?
In an
Would that
ideal
be-
world, you know, the more parking spaces, the better, because we could make our site larger. But yeah, it's going to be dependent on how the easement discussion continues. Yeah, just right now, it's a very tight site to put the size wet well and pumps that would be required in. And, you know, ideally, we would like to try to keep this existing pump station in operation during the course of construction, instead of bypass pumping, but bypass pumping is an option. And then, you know, we would have to evaluate.
Well, it certainly is visible.
Yep, and you know, there are options to try to better conceal this site, and you know, without going directly towards a fence. But you know, we wanted to kind of show the different options and how we would do that. You know, we don't currently have a shrubbery plan in place right here, but that would be the main goal, to kind of be concealing this site with some more shrubbery as it currently is.
So the tulip tree would be taken down, is that right?
Yes, unfortunately, every way we looked at kind of going about the site, the tulip tree would have to be removed, just because this excavation would likely be pretty much the entire site. Once, you know, even to install the new wet well and then to eventually remove the existing. This tree is currently right here, so all the root system that's currently in this area is all going to be unfortunately damaged and likely damaged beyond repair.
The tulip tree could not be relocated.
Go ahead, Bob.
I've spoken with the tree warden about that. The tree is frankly so large and its root system is probably so ingrained in the site and in terms of all the underground utilities that are already there. It would make it pretty well impossible to try to move that tree out of there. But that was kind of one of our first thoughts, but it's just, unfortunately it was the wrong kind of tree to be planted at that site just because of the fact that it did get so large over time. But we did consider that, but it just doesn't seem like it's feasible to relocate it somewhere else, unfortunately.
All right, Ben, do you have anything further?
Yep. So just continuing on, I want to just give you an idea of kind of just the imagery of kind of what we're proposing. For the pump enclosures, there are different options, whether you want to do a shorter, wider version like this or a smaller footprint but taller version. And I think we're going to be somewhere in the middle between these two options right here. These are currently installed in the Metaview pump station. I believe is this lower one, and the George Ryder pump station is this upper picture right here. So the town does currently have these pump enclosures installed in other pump stations. And to caveat to this location, I think is wooded along here and not in plain view, but this one right here, this picture was taken before there was a fence installed between these two wooden posts. Just so it's a better concealment of this green structure.
I have a quick question, Ben. I know on Church Street, they recently put in sewer, I believe, and they have two pump stations, and they housed them. They put them in these little, very attractive houses.
I'm not familiar with that installation.
I guess it must be the town of Harwich that's done that.
Yes, those are in Harwich. And you're absolutely correct. We have done similar things in Chatham. Harwich basically got their designs from us, if you will. We have done pump stations that are located inside buildings. And it depends, the lower picture there of Meadowview, we originally offered that neighborhood to put everything inside a building just because it is right in the middle of a residential neighborhood. And the neighborhood didn't want a building. So we have the pump station the way it is. It's got chain link fence on 3 sides, a privacy fence across the roadside, and then heavily landscaped around it. So that now, roughly 10 years after we built it, you drive down the road and basically you don't even see it. All you see is the fence going by. Sam is very familiar. We also did a pump station in a building over on Lime Hill, which is very similar. The building is designed to basically look like a Cape Cod 1-car garage, if you will. So we did consider that as an option very briefly for this site. But I think the problem we have here is the site is so small. And Ben, I don't know if you have I think you have a slide which shows to house the pump station at this location, we'd be looking at a building of about a 16 by 16 footprint. And then to provide any buffer around the building for landscaping and all, basically we just don't have the space at this site. That's why we were going with the more outdoorsy style pump station, if you will, with all the, one of the big differences between the 2 sites that are shown here. On the Meadowview Road site, the generator is painted green. On the George Ryder Road site, because it's on town property right behind the Shellfish and Animal Control building, the generator was white, which unfortunately, kind of shows up. It would be our intent that all the structures here at this location at Chatham Village Market, if you will, would all be painted green so that they would blend in with the vegetation, that we'd then plant around it. But unfortunately, the site is just so tight. And especially if we can't get an easement from the owners of the Chatham Village Market CVS site for those parking spaces, and we have to stay within the existing town property, frankly, a building just would not work. There is not enough space to put a building and still be able to provide any kind of landscaping or anything like that around it. So that, we definitely looked at that as a potential, but it just doesn't look like it would work and meet all the various requirements we have.
I have one other question. Are any of these, the generator or anything, is it susceptible to any little critters getting in there at all? Because I know that I have to have my heat pumps serviced twice a year because there's a problem with, mice getting inside.
Yeah, these structures are all designed to be outside. They're all secured as best we can. And, the pump stations are visited at least once a day by staff from the sewer department. So, hopefully if anything like that were to occur, we'd be aware of it right off the bat and be able to take any additional steps that were necessary. So, yeah, I mean, it hasn't, Chatham has had pump stations, this one being, one of the ones from 1969, 70, and I'm not aware of any issues in that time frame where, critters getting into any of the units caused any problems or were even an issue. These are outdoor structures, they're weather tight, they're designed for outdoors, they're locking. So they're pretty secure, especially the electrical panel and the controls panel. They're designed for that environment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Ben, do you have any further pictures or anything? Otherwise, I'll start down through the members, get their comments or questions.
Okay, yep, I think one more slide, and this is to
All
give
right.
you an example
Very
of
good.
the site fence, just with some shrubbery around it. So just give you a visual. on those potential fence options. And this is also within the town of Chatham at Balfour Pump Station with some landscaping around it. So I believe, and one additional, we wanted to look into some site lighting, and we would do the exact same site. We propose the same site lighting that is currently within the parking lot, just to match styles and be consistent.
Very good.
And I think, does anyone else have any additional questions?
I'm going to go through them now, Bob. Ben, rather. I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
Okay.
That was an excellent presentation, by the way.
Thank
All
you.
right, so let's start with our vice chair, Darcy.
Yeah, thank you. That was a great presentation. I have a question. What is the height difference in the generator that's there now as what's proposed? Is there a height difference?
There would likely be a height difference in the generator. It wouldn't be a substantial height difference. I think the main height difference would be likely in the enclosure
Okay.
between what is currently on site and what we are proposing.
And how long do you think this should take to start to finish?
Are you saying in terms of construction?
Yes.
We are, I think, forecasting once, if we were able to start construction in the non-summer season, so I don't believe would start till November of 2023, I believe. This would be, I think we're estimating between a 4 to 5 month construction. That'd be maximum.
Okay.
Hopefully that would be less, but that's all going to be dependent on the site layout that ends up being chosen, and subsequently the easement discussion.
Okay.
And also on, sorry,
the
on
reason-
staging, sorry,
Okay.
delivery.
Yes,
of
and
materials.
yes, yep,
Yeah.
delivery materials. Yeah, a lot of things are in back order, much more than they ever used to be. Just
Yeah,
COVID.
I understand that. Yeah. Yeah, I would like to see as many trees as you could put there, kind of fast growing. The reason I asked that question was if you could shut that pump station down and then, put everything where it was, but that's probably not
Yeah,
doable, correct?
yeah,
It's-
we can't shut down the existing pump station because obviously it already serves a significant part of Chatham. The option, if we were forced to put the new pump station and wet well in the same location where the existing one is, that's where we get into bypass pumping, meaning we would basically shut the existing station down, but we would set up a process utilizing the existing manholes where we would put temporary piping in to a temporary pump and a temporary generator to be able to continue to pump that wastewater 24/7, while we remove the old station, build the new station. That's why we're trying to get the easements to be able to kind of shift the new station a little further back so that we can keep the old station in operation and not have to get into bypass piping or pumping because that has its own whole set of issues. It's noisy
Yeah, I'm
because
sure.
generator running and a pump running. Luckily we're not right in the middle of a residential neighborhood. So, that concern is a little bit less than if we were surrounded by residential homes. But bypass pumping is really kind of the absolute last resort if you can
Mhm.
avoid it.
I understand. Thank you, Bob.
Sam?
Well, of course, I would be for the larger site. There's no point in crowding all this stuff. It's the future of Chatham. It's at a nexus of all the roads, and it's extremely important that you have the room to organize and to have the equipment function as well as it can as it's designed to. I'm for the lower pump if that works, because it would be less obtrusive to being seen. I do, the picture you showed of the solid metal fence that was sort of a darkish gray, I hope we could avoid that and have a more open fence and more dense shrubbery. See, that sort of looks like a container box. It looks like something's inside there, and it's not a very compatible look for our downtown and for our business districts. So I would be open to more of those trees, maybe 2 lines staggered, and to have it look more residential if possible. So other than that, I think all your efforts are to be commended because I think you're working for similar things that we're working. So.
Thank you, Sam. Bob Burns?
Yeah, would be great if you can get this easement. I think it makes a lot of sense. So hopefully you'll be successful. As far as the fence, is that a metal fence?
No, it's a composite material.
It's composite.
Yeah, we're trying to use composites just because they're low maintenance.
Okay, and I would agree to try. And that's going to be how high, that fence?
It would be 6 feet. This one shown is 8. This is Jeff Gregg from GHD. This one is, so it's taller, but we are just showing for the image, but we would be looking at 6 foot would be the highest we'd want to go in this site.
Could you do something lower than 6?
Sure. I mean, you'd see the tops of things, and so but that's where the vegetation would hopefully be, it would be similar to what you have now, except for some of the structures are going to stick up above those shrubberies that you have. So we would look to try to, the key is trying to balance things that grow up versus things that grow out.
Yeah.
The fatter they get, then it becomes harder for the operators to actually get to the things that they want to get to. But we also, want to be cognizant of screening. So we try to go with tall, skinny, to do exactly what Sam was saying, and even stagger or set them up in sort of 2 rows to kind of create that fence-like look. And then we would, we could do, or what we've done in other places is just had the wooden guardrail, which is shorter, that acts as some of that sort of fence-like protection without actually having a fence. But we could certainly entertain a bunch of different options at this site. We're really waiting for that easement to determine where we can set up so that we can figure out what that landscaping is really going to look like to protect this.
Can you do a post and rail, or do you need the solid fence for safety?
You don't need that solid fence. We can secure the site, without, the site right now currently is secured without a perimeter fence. It's just in terms of screening. It's what you want to do for screening.
I would be in favor as much screening as you can do without blocking the line of sight for cars exiting the market onto Queen Anne.
That we're aware of that, and obviously that's a concern for us as well. So we may be able to do larger, taller plantings in some areas, but once you get out by where the stop sign coming out of the parking lot and all is, we may be limited to using shorter plantings just to maintain that site distance. So it's going to be tough from a landscaping perspective just because of where the site is. In other places we've had the luxury of not being right at a very busy intersection, and we're able to screen a little bit better. This one's going to be a little tougher one to work with.
And that's
Okay.
that's the other reason why we didn't want to have a building there, because that building just creates a massive wall that would be
Yeah,
difficult for the sight lines.
and if that fence is too high, I worry about it also being an issue if it runs along that curve there.
Yep.
So I'll leave it to your expertise, but those are my comments.
Thank you, Bob. Doug?
Yeah, well, I'm glad that the structure is off the table, because I don't think that would have been a good solution. I think the fencing and the shrubbery and greenery are the way to go, and I'm sure it will look, as best as it can when you're finished. And I understand, the easement situation would be fantastic if you can, but if you can't, I'm sure just some fencing and greenery will be sufficient. So, thank you for all your efforts.
Thank you, Doug. Steve DuBois?
Well, one of the advantages of going towards the tail end of these discussions is that most of your questions and comments have already been asked and answered. But, I guess I would go with option 2, I guess, and, hopefully you can get the easement for at least one of these spots so that you can sort of pull this back as far away from the road as possible. And then also have a little extra room to work. And then I would be all for keeping this as low profile as possible. Keep the height of the fence down as low as possible. If it is like a stockade fence like that, or maybe we could come up with a better solution to screen this from the road. But I think it sounds like you're in line to do all the things that people have said. So I think it'd be a good project.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say if we have the space, if we get the, at least one parking space, our intent was to not necessarily use a fence, but screen it as, more sufficiently.
Mhm.
Only if we're really tight with space and we don't think we can do sufficient landscaping, then we may go to the fence option. And it may be a hybrid like we saw down in Meadowview, where we had, chain link with landscaping, and then just use kind of the privacy fence on one side, if you will, say by the road where we can't put any landscaping kind of thing. So now that we've had your feedback, we have a better sense of what directions to head in. So thank you.
All right. Thank you for the presentation.
All right, Janet?
I'm happy that it's going to be updated, and all my questions have been answered, and I'm looking forward to the improvement.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you.
All right. This is Dan Silver. I have a comment and a question. My question is, I want to make sure I get this right. The existing equipment is going to stay, is that right?
No, once the new station is built, the existing equipment would go away.
Oh, all right. So you're not keeping the existing equipment and adding new.
No.
Okay. Because I was going to say that would really crowd this site out if you were. Okay. Very
If
good.
we have the opportunity to build the new station and keep the existing station operational, because we've gotten the easement so we can do basically work behind it, there would be a period of time, of a couple of months where, yes, the old station would be there and you'd see the new station being built. But once the new station is built and operational, everything related to the old station would be removed.
Okay, that's really what I wanted to hear. Thank you very much, Bob.
Yep.
My other comment is that I think that bigger is better than small, because small has gotten us into the situation that we are in now on that corner. If that had been larger, we wouldn't be going through this. So I think it's better to build big now to anticipate the use in the future than it is to have to do this all over again. I'm not terribly concerned about the landscaping down there. That whole project has been done beautifully, and I think if you get a space or two, that you could get sufficient shrubbery in there to cover that very well. I think you're going to have a bit of a problem trying to get those two parking lots. They're probably two of the most popular parking lots in that area. At least every time I go down there, there's a car and the one immediately against it, not so much the one further out. But I'm really happy to hear that you were concerned about the traffic situation, because the site picture leaving those two parking areas is horrendous right now with the shrubbery that's there. It's really very difficult.
Right.
But I think you've really looked at this project and thought it over very carefully. So I'm very pleased with your approach. And I thank you very much again for the excellent presentation. So do you have what you need?
We do. I saw Sam had his hand up earlier. Sam, do you still have a question?
Well, I'd just like to add that I hadn't mentioned you probably need a guardrail all the way around. And if that's sufficient structural separation, then cover that with the landscaping and the bushes. I think we're good to go. On a corner, zoning allows you 2'6" high bushes and any fencing, but that would cover the 2'6" would cover the guardrail, and so I think it'd be pretty low at that for visibility, looking from the parking lot out.
Yep.
So anyway, those are my two comments.
Okay.
Thank you, Sam. This is Dan one more time, and I have to disagree that I don't think you chose the wrong tree. If it grew too fast, too big, too fast, and that was the right tree for the area. So anyways, it's too bad we can't save it. Thank you very much, folks.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
bet. All right, Sam, what's the next one?
Okay, we have a second pre-application conference, Chatham Productions LLC, care of Victoria Clark. Pre-application conference to discuss proposed dwellings located on Annabelle Lane, AKA 776 Main Street and 70 Depot Road.
Very good, Sam. Thank you. And Victoria with us here.
Yeah,
Hey.
gee, I live right in this neighborhood and I don't know where Annabelle Lane is. AKA
hello.
776 Main Street? Do you,
I can
does
speak to
anyone
that.
know?
This is Victoria Clark from Chatham Productions LLC. Annabelle Lane is the definitive subdivision that was just approved by the planning board. I believe it was last week. That is going to be the subdivision that is separate, that is redefining the lot lines of 776 Main Street and what is currently 70 Depot Road. To answer your question about where Annabelle Lane will be.
Okay, so this is going to be a new like little lane that's been established. Is that right?
Yeah, it is going to be it's a new subdivision. That is correct.
Okay. Now, can you, I'm curious to where, exactly where this is. Is it next to the post office?
So 70
Sweet
Depot Road
potatoes?
is, no, so 776 Main Street is what is the front half of the Monomoy Theater, and 70 Depot Road is right next to the piece of town property that borders the Veterans Field. If that is helpful.
The entrance would be across from Chatham. What is it? The tackle store.
Yes, the bait and tackle shop. That is correct. That would be the entrance to the subdivision.
Okay, so that's where Annabelle Lane will be. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
And so after we got the approval from the planning board for the definitive subdivision, our interior designer for Chatham Productions began working with Mark Zebrat designing the 4 houses for the subdivision. And each house is unique, but they all have similar features. We specifically looked at a few different subdivisions within the H.B.D.C and houses along Main Street, specifically Hydrangea Lane, Kendrick's Harvest Lane, and Isaac Harding Lane, to get inspiration for the different exterior features of the houses, because while we want them to be unique, we don't want them to be too different that it doesn't look conducive with each other. And I believe Sarah has some of the exterior elevations, and what we just kind of wanted to get some of your feedback on some of the different features of the houses
and see your opinions on different windows, transoms, entryways, that sort of thing, to see what you liked and what you didn't like that we have kind of come up with so far. Our interior designer, Terry Clark, and Mark Zebrad is also on the call if you have any specific questions, because they
All right, very
know
good. So
more.
we're going to take these one by one. This is lot 2. How many of them have you got?
There's 4 of them.
Okay, so this is lot 2.
Yes, this is the first, when you enter from Depot Road, if you were coming from the Depot Road entrance, this will border the back half of the Monomoy Theater property and the house the property next door on Depot Road.
So that's why it
back
says
corner.
north elevation, because this is the front of the building, right? Facing the fire
Yes,
station.
that is correct. This is the entryway to the home.
Okay, very good. All right, let's find out. Sam?
So are we going to go through all 4 houses, or are we just, what is the
Well,
plan?
why don't we take them one at a time? This is lot 2. We're on it.
So we
Victoria,
are-
Victoria, do you want me to show front elevation, back elevation for each, and then they can ask questions?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
that
think
would be
that's the best
perfect.
way.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that
why I say
might
this
be
is
the
lot 2, but
easiest
just
way
stick
to
with
do
this one for now. So that's the face that faces the old theater.
Yes, that is correct. That would be the back half of the yes, exactly.
So this is what we'd be looking at from the ball field?
No,
Yeah.
this would be the back. This would back up against the front half of the theater portion. There obviously will have to come back to get trees. There'll be a fence. There'll obviously be landscaping to separate the properties on both sides. And we know we have to come back with that. But this wouldn't be, you couldn't see this from the street or from the theater property.
Okay, thank you. What is the square footage?
The footprints of all of the houses that we have, so in current design, range from a little less than 2,000 to around 2,500 square feet.
Thank you. I love the eyebrow window.
Do we have one more elevation, Sarah? We got north, south. And we got-
You only have
At the-
2 elevations for each of the lots.
Right, but I
At
mean,
the
do we
moment,
have, yes, we're on lot 2, so
at
we've
the
seen the back and the front.
At the
Correct,
moment, that's all we've designed so far, just
Oh,
the front
okay,
and the
all
back.
righty.
Gotten
All right.
into too specific of the sides yet.
Okay, folks, let's stick with lot 2 since we have the front and the back. Darcy, you have any questions or suggestions or anything? Comments? You're unmuted, Darcy. Need to be unmuted, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
No,
all right.
I think it's a great design. The house is extremely large, and I think it would fit on the lot nicely. Kind of mimics other houses that are under construction or have been constructed recently. So I have no questions or other comments at this point.
All right. Thank you, Darcy. Sam?
Yeah, I think something should be done with the ridge line. To not have them line up. If it's all possible to give some variety in, and this would, I have a question. There are 3 parts here. What is the distance from the front, the right-hand part to the middle part to the garage part? The left part,
I
the
think
left, the middle to the right. So is it does the garage in the front stick forward, or does the middle stick back 2 feet or 10 feet?
Sam, this is Mark Zebrad. Sam, this is Mark Zebrad. Maybe I can help you. In your packet, you should have a first floor plan.
No, we don't.
You do not. Okay.
No.
Well, that kind of doesn't work well. If you go from the left to the right, the front Greek Revival kind of building,
Yeah.
the wall, next wall to it is 5 foot 8 inches back, and then the garage is 3 foot forward to that. So they do go in and out 3 to 4 feet, 5 feet.
Okay,
The difficulty, the ridge lines, if you had a floor plan, you could see that the building is deep, trying to get the roof lines to work and trying to drop them down enough to give the variety and keep it at an appropriate pitch for those back roofs was a little difficult. I can look at trying to change that a little bit, but it's not easy.
all right. Well, I mean, you can always drop the middle. That's just a
As
pitch.
you know, with the just dropping a line.
Anyway, other than that, I think you're going to be complimented on using a Greek Revival proportions, and the windows are heavy on trim and details. I'm not so excited about transom windows because it makes it forces the first floor ceiling height to be around 10 feet, which is totally unnecessary in my view, and that would bring the max, bring the height down from the 30 feet that you're fighting against here. Well, you've got a estimated grade plane that's way down, but I don't know how the site works out in terms of its elevation, its topography. So other than that, gutters everywhere, and so you get a two-part fascia line, and it has enough scale and for good proportion that I'm okay with it. I'd like to see the first floor lower.
Thank you, Sam. Bob?
I just wanted to comment on the transoms. This is Terry Clark. I'm the interior designer for Alexander Properties that work with Mark. And as we said, we took, different concepts from some of the other developments in Chatham. And on Isaac Harding Lane, actually 11, 20, and 25 all have the transoms above the windows on the first floor. So that was kind of, something that we had looked at around town to just get a perspective on. So I just wanted to add that into you to let you know that this is.
Let me respond to the Marsh insists that all his and you've picked Marsh type houses, that all his buyers insist on transoms. In several cases, we've tried to eliminate them, and without any diminution in his sales. I think that adding features always stimulates more real estate sales, and that doesn't necessarily confirm that we think we should have more transoms. So that's my view. I'm against transom.
Okay, thank you.
Bob?
I have no questions. I think as far as what I can see, it looks pretty good.
Doug?
I think, looking at preliminary looks great. As the project progresses and we get more details and stuff, but I have no problem with what I've seen.
All righty. Steve?
Yeah, I kind of like this design of the Greek Revival portion is looks very good. I'm not too crazy about the transoms either. I think it makes it look a little too busy. And that second door that's near the garage is a little odd looking, but the general design is very good.
Okay, Janet?
I would again say I love the Greek Revival. It's very in keeping with a architecture here in town. I see that they borrowed the eyebrow window from the library that's above the garage door. And I'm a little confused about this this diagram. Am I looking at the total front of the house here? I'm sorry, just help me with that, please.
Yes, that is correct. This is the front of it.
And this would be placed on a 7,000 square foot lot, is that right?
The lot sizes are around 14,000 square feet. So they're bigger than 7,000, but I do believe in the GB2, the smallest lot size is 7,000, but these lots are bigger than that.
Oh, you're not within the H.B.D.C district?
We are in the H.B.D.C, but GB2 is the zoning that we're in, which determines the lot size.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
You all set, Jenna?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I realize what you've done. You picked and chose different details of various houses, but I don't think that eyebrow fits on this particular design. I don't think that the eyebrow fits with the Greek Revival at all. And
right.
The windows need attention. But outside of that, I think you got a pretty good basic plan that just needs to be worked over. And I know we've worked with you before, and I know that it can be done. So you're on a good foot forward there, I think, with this one. So
Mr.
since that's
Chairman.
the last one, I guess we can go on to the next one, which is.
Oh, okay. No. Let's go back to the rear. We haven't had a chance to comment on the rear.
All right.
Because this one will be very obvious from the new however the Monomoy Theater works out, and eventually I think you could see past the building depending on how it is, and this would be very prominent on the bluff up where above the theater. And I find the middle section here, which I assume sticks forward of what's on either side of it. This is broken into 4 parts instead of 3. But the middle section is very commercial looking because you've made these breakdown in the trim under the window, and it looks like an office building to a certain degree, as very commercial curtain wall look. And I'm not sure that the way you've depicted these sliders and French doors, that you've shown all the trim plus the framing around each one of the windows, which should be about 5 or 6 inches. So once you get all of that in, and it will look a lot better, but right now it looks a little fragmented. It looks too open, in my view.
Okay, we'll make a note. Thank you.
All right, Bob. Bob, do you have anything to say about the south elevation?
No, not at this time. Thanks.
Okay. Darcy, do you have any comments about the south elevation?
No comment.
Okay, Doug, do you have any comments about the south elevation?
No comment.
Steve?
No comment.
Janet?
The only other comment, I agree with you, Dan, about the eyebrow windows. It doesn't really go with the rest of the design. Although as much as I like it and it's attractive, I don't think it goes with the overall design. That's just my personal take on it. And I would agree with Dan about the eyebrow.
Thank you, Janet. Yeah, this is Dan Silva. My comments are, I don't think this one is working out as well as the north elevation. That quarter the whole left-hand side doesn't make any sense. You got a whole bunch of windows on the second floor and just two on the first floor. You got the eyebrow window that just makes that look like a whole separate piece that was thrown on there during a storm. And then you had that high, excuse the expression, but elevator shaft going up there. That makes no sense whatsoever. I have no idea what that is, what the purpose of it is at all. But outside of that, if you drop the elevator shaft down so that the peak of that roof is down to the top of the bottom of the second floor windows, it might make sense. I don't know what that is. We haven't got a floor layout, but I don't think that belongs with the rest of the house at all. So you started out great on the right-hand side and then just locked it all the way through. So, but I know again that we can work out details, so more information comes forward too.
I have a quick question. Instead of the eyebrow window, would you prefer to see like a dormer or something similar instead to flow with the style, or does anyone have any strong opinions of?
Well, I think you're mixing and matching, you know, I mean, you define this as a Greek revival, then stick with things that are Greek revival. I love what you did with it on the right-hand side, that porch, and then the second little alcove or whatever you want to call it that comes out is classical. That's excellent. But then I don't understand what as I say again, that tall tower. I have no idea what that's all about.
Okay. Thank you.
And it does, Sam's correct, it looks more commercial than it does residential. So, but I know again, we can work together with this, so we'll get it done. All righty. All right, Sam, do you have anything else or can we go on to the next one?
Oh, no. Go ahead.
All right, so this is lot what?
3.
3.
So this lot.
Obviously it comes after 2, huh?
This lot will border the, yes, because with the subdivision, the front property on Main Street is technically lot 1. But this lot will be along the baseball field and the front property on Main Street, the theater property.
All righty. All right, so we got the front elevation now, and this was facing what way? North, south?
This is the north elevation.
Again, okay, all right, very good. Do we have the other elevation, Sarah? So we can just get a quick look at that. And that's the rear elevation. All righty. Well, my goodness. Okay. So this is what we have front and rear, right?
Yes, I do want to point out, I know this might be confusing given the way it's drawn, but from the front elevation on the right-hand side, part of what you see, the reason it looks kind of staggered is because of how that is where the garage is angled. So with the driveway, it's hard to see. Obviously when you get elevation, when we get further along and elevations will be from all sides, it'll be easier to imagine, which I understand right now is quite difficult, but I just wanted to make that a known fact.
Well, let's find out what they say. I think we ran into this situation before at South Chatham. All right, Darcy?
Again, the design is pretty much the same, and I don't object to the eyebrow window, but if you wanted to put a dormer there or 2 small dormers, I wouldn't object to that either.
Very good.
Very similar.
Sam Strybert?
When you present elevations, would you please give the height of the room that's in, from floor to ceiling, and then the structure, and then the second floor and the second floor ceiling, so we have some idea about how high things are. Again, yes. I'm not for the transoms. I think it makes the use of gambrels makes them loom over proportionally over the first floors, and the same thing for the porch. All this is, and I can't see the way the columns are divided. I think needs some work. That one column seems to be missing opposite that window. And then on the right-hand side of this is a gambrel, but there's some lines on the dormer that don't make sense. And I don't understand if those were dashed lines, then I can understand if those are roofs between the garage structure and, but I'm not sure how to read those lines on that roof, on that dormer roof.
Sam, on the drawings, they are dotted, maybe not coming through on your printer on the vision.
Okay.
That garage, 28 feet from the front of the main house, just to give you some perspective on the depth.
Okay.
There is an extra wing in there.
If it's at an angle, then we would see the front face of the garage.
No, at a right, it's 90 degrees off. It's not at an angle.
Okay. Okay. Again, the eyebrow is good. I think you've tried to make it a landmark on all of the buildings. It's a nice extra to a certain degree, but it can't go with Greek Revival and then with Cambrels. It's dated. All right.
Thank you, Sam. Bob?
I would agree with the probably do something different with the eyebrow. On the right-hand side, there's a small window. Is there another door that, if the garage is angled, is there another entrance door on the front?
Yes,
there
is.
Garage doors and a little pass door that goes into the connector. As
Okay.
I said, that garage is 28 feet proud of the front of the building.
Okay, so there is another door that's next to that, as in the angle, there's another door, entrance door on the right.
Yes.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. No further questions.
Okay, Doug?
I don't have any further questions at this time. I understand everyone's comments, and I think it'll be, look very nice when it's completed, and we'll be involved in the process as well. So, no questions.
Okay, Steve?
Yeah, I don't mind the eyebrow window so much, but I don't like those transom windows on the first floor at all. I just think it looks too busy, especially around the door, and I really don't think they're necessary. Other than that, I'm okay.
Janet?
I have no further comments. Thank you.
I just have one. Strangely enough, I don't mind the eyebrow window so much on this one. I think it more than likely belongs with or is more appropriate with a gambrel, but I would suggest only one eyebrow window in the whole complex there. It just gets to be too much after a while. But anyways, I think we're on a road and we're on a roll, so. Alrighty. I hope I didn't leave anybody out. This is what, 4?
This is the rear elevation for the same building. So
all right. It's still 3. All right. All right. Darcy?
No, I have no comment at this time.
Okay. Sam?
The first floor doesn't seem to relate to the 2 gambrel roofs. They're just, like somebody did the first floor is just a straight opening, and gambrel roofs are plopped on top of them. One roof line comes down and sits right on the middle of a sliding glass door. The other gambrel roof facade sits on top of 3 columns, but there's no 4th column. So there's some mistakes here.
Okay. Doug?
I
Sorry,
like
Bob.
the rear
Doug.
on this.
Go ahead, Doug.
Sorry, what's that, Dan?
No, go ahead,
I'm
Doug.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like the rear elevation on this. And again, I like the eyebrow window, looks great here. So yeah, no further questions.
Okay. Bob?
No further questions.
All right. Steve?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way that what Sam was saying is that maybe that door, if that's a sliding door or a French door, could be centered between the two gambrels, maybe eliminate one of those windows. And again, the transoms, I think, above the first floor windows are unnecessary.
Very good, Steve. Thank you. Janet?
I agree with you about the eyebrow with the gambrel. It seems to go a little better. If they seem to want to have this, I loved how they plucked different ideas from the town and brought them forth a little bit. I have less an aversion to the eyebrow with the gambrel as opposed to the Greek revival. I think the Greek revival needs to be kept the way it should be. Anyway, no other comments. They're going to be
Thank you,
beautiful
Janet.
houses.
Dan Silver. Yeah, I agree with Sam. The second floor has no relation whatsoever to the first floor. Nothing is centered. All those bays or windows on the left-hand side are not centered in the left gambrel. Sliding door, I think, should be centered over or under, rather, the eyebrow. And some sense should be made of the windows and columns on the right-hand side. So they just need some fixing. As Sam said, it just ain't right. So, but I know we'll get there. Again, I have faith. All right, so that's it. Shall we go on to the next one?
So this is lot 4. This will be against the ball field and the piece of town property that is visible from Depot Road that is just trees at the moment.
All righty. That's the front elevation. Sarah, do we have the rear?
Yes.
My goodness, that's pretty different. Oh. Right,
the front elevation of this building faces west, not north.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Towards the post office road.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, boy, that's quite a difference, a startling difference between front and back. That's amazing.
Yeah.
On the same house. All right, Darcy?
No, I have no comment. I like the design.
Good. All right, Sam?
Well, again, the transoms, I'm not for, but this has, with the 5-part breakdown, the 5 windows across, or 4 windows and a front entrance, that has a certain classic, and the symmetry kind of holds the eye, so that this is the most important part of the whole composition. And then the left side and the right side, can be freer, and they're developed properly and seem to have the right, good proportions. I'd be more in for this. I'd be more for this than some of the problems with the others.
Thank you, Sam. Bob?
No, I think it looks good. So good job on this one.
Doug?
I like this one as well. I don't think the eyebrow window was necessary there, but that's just my opinion. Great design. I like it.
Steve?
Yeah, I like this design as well. Maybe without the eyebrow, and again, the transom windows.
Very good. Okay, Janet?
It looks like a colonial to me, and it's quite lovely. I love the lights on the sides of the door. If that's the front door, I'm not sure whether an eyebrow window goes with a colonial design, but I think when you're working with architects, they're very creative people, and they can put a lot of different things in. So it'll be interesting to see how it all works out. I think these are obviously just preliminary. Is that right? So
Yes.
just
Yep.
get an idea.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so this is Dan Silver. Again, I agree. I think this is looking like a colonial, and it's looking like a nice colonial. I think the eyebrow could go. I'm a little confused at what the windows, all the windows are on the left-hand side on the second floor. I can't quite make out what they are, but I know we'll work that out too. Seem to have some trim in there on a couple of windows or something. I don't know. Yeah, I have no
Yeah.
idea what's going on there. But I know you
Yeah.
can clean that all up.
The panel
No
trim.
problem there. Yeah, that can all get cleaned up. So, you know, if you want something like that eyebrow, you could put a little a dormer roof up there or something like that, just a, you know, a gable roof or something. Get a window in to keep the colonial look. So, anyways, I think you're on a roll on that one. And we're on number 4, or is this?
No, that's the,
Yes.
That's a rear elevation, right? Right. Yeah, this is the one that's so different, isn't it? Show me for a loop. Darcy?
Yeah, it's a little different. I think it's an interesting design. Yeah,
Okay.
I like it.
Sam?
It's great.
I'm sorry. Sam?
Well, there's a lineup of the elements on the right and a lineup or a centering of the elements in the middle. But then the left side seems to have lost its way. So maybe a little more sensitivity in lining things up might pull it. But what's going to be a little hard to break is this fascia line that goes across the entire house in one fell swoop. One back wall, one fascia line. That's going to be a little bit overwhelming, and you might think about ways to break that up as well. So, and you'd be more consistent with the other houses.
Thank you, Sam. Bob?
Just one question. Does this rear elevation back up to the ball field?
Yes, it does.
Okay. No further questions.
Okay. Doug?
I agree. No, I like what I see. I agree with the things lined up on the left and the right in the middle. The left, I would like to see more in symmetry, but I think it looks very, very handsome.
Thank you. And Steve?
Yeah, I agree with all the previous comments. I don't like the twin double doors or French doors or sliders or whatever they are there on the right. I think maybe one single, 12-foot door might look better. And the symmetry on the left is off. I mean, everything else is kind of lined up in the center and on the right, and the left just looks like, things were just dropped on the picture and not centered at all. So I think the left side needs some work there.
The symmetry on the left is really a result of the interior layout. You're always balancing exterior versus interior to make the room symmetrical from the inside or symmetrical from the outside. This side felt was a balance between the two. I agree it's not in perfect balance, but it does work well from the inside.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay, Janet?
I agree with those two French doors. I think that those don't go with I love the lights above, the transom above, but having two French doors side by side like that, I don't care for that. With everything else, it's just kind of out of place. So
Thank
that's
you,
all I
Janet.
have.
Okay. This is Dan Silver. Yeah, I think something really needs to be done, not only on the left, but the right-hand side too. To be honest with you, it looks like an ice cream without a cone. It is just, well, it looks like you got the top there, and then you got no bottom. You got, it's got no connection whatsoever. It should be a wall or something, a bump out down below just to continue that those corner boards down through the first floor. And then you could put the two doors in there. But I think what I'm trying to say is Sam is correct, that you need a break in that fascia across there somehow.
Okay. Thank
What
you.
you have is just a dormer sitting up there with no connection to the first floor whatsoever. None whatsoever. So, whatever can be done. Alrighty? I mean, if you continue the lines of the corner boards on the second floor down to through the first floor, you'd have a beautiful house. Be very nice. All right. So who have I missed? Anybody? No? All right. That's it, is it? Or not? Do we
No.
go
This
to
is
five?
this is the last one. This is lot 5. So this is
Yep.
also the west elevation. So this will
Oh,
face
all right. Great.
the
Nice.
post office as well. And this lines up with the town's property as well as, that's it, because of where it is in the cul-de-sac. It's,
Okay, Sarah, I'm not quite
Yes.
getting that fully on my screen. Is that something? There we go. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. All right. Let's start out. Darcy.
This looks like the most traditional out of all of them. I think it's great. I like it. Good job.
Good job. Sam?
Yeah, this is better. The window over the front door, I think is crowded by the very steep roof that you have over the front door itself. Again, the transoms, I like a double row of transoms on the garage. The cupola is nice. I hope you get through the ZBA with Nixon install cupola. Those are my comments. I think you should try on something simpler over the front door.
Okay.
Maybe a lower pitch roof.
Okay, Bob?
No further comments. I agree with the comments from that Sam just made. Thanks.
Okay. Doug?
Very traditional. I like it a lot. I like the symmetry. Good.
All right. Steve?
I probably like this one the best out of the 4 that we've seen. You know, maybe the front door is a little busy, but other than that, I think it's great.
Okay. Janet?
I love the cupola. I hope it gets through. And I agree about the windows on the top. The windows on the above the entrance look more English to me, like an English design. And somehow it doesn't quite fit with the rest of it, but it's a lovely design overall. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Yeah, this is Dan Silver. I have to agree with everybody. This is the best of them all so far, and well done, folks. Yeah, so I have hope here. Looks like we're going to make it
Dan,
through.
could I just add something?
Certainly, Sam, go right ahead.
Putting a window next to a door is very hard to detail because the trim of the door actually has to have the trim of the window next to it because you have to have some sort of a, it's possible to do, but it's probably not a good thing from a water-based thing to combine a door and a window. And you've done it in a number of places on the other houses. I think every back door has one of these. And I think it's better to separate the two things.
Thank you, Sam.
thank you.
I have to say that the gable over the garage with the window in it and the cupola are really, really well done. Thank you. So how about, can we go to the rear? Whoa, again, a major change. Holy mackerel. Wow. All right. Darcy?
Yeah, it's interesting that large window at the top. Are you going to have all cathedral ceilings on that part of the house?
No, not on that second floor. That box, hey, really two separate rooms upstairs. One bedroom on the left, one bedroom on the right.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that part was going to be cathedral. No, I think it's a nice design. That's it.
Okay, Sam?
Transoms in the garage, leaves. I don't get it. Transom in the garage. And normally the door would be a 9-light door and it's a 12-light. Don't understand that. Other than that, the central section does pull the whole thing together. So that's a good thing. Probably it's got Greek revival plate heights that are probably not compatible with the front at all. And the little sweepy side of the second floor, those sweepy sides, I'm not sure where they came from. I didn't remember them on the first floor, but you probably did have them on the first floor.
All righty, Bob?
No, I think it looks good. I'm sure there's some more refinements, but I have no further questions.
Okay, Doug?
I have no questions. I think it looks really nice.
Okay, Steve?
I think it looks fine, except again with the transoms, but on the first floor windows. But other than that, I think it's fine.
Okay, Janet?
I think it's lovely. I just need to understand where I'm going to look at this. Am I going to see this from the ball field, or how is this house situated?
It does back up against the ball field, but how with elevations and landscaping and fences?
The other house on lot.
This is also, it's separated by, it will not be visible from any public view because it backs up to another house lot and a town property. So it won't be visible by anyone other than their neighbors, perhaps.
All right, so that leaves me, and I agree with Sam. You know, I didn't remember those, well, I think Sam called them sleepy sides or whatever. But I know that the trim is going to be consistent. I see you got gutter returns and ease, yeah.
Well, he had corner board before, and now he's woven the shingles, I assume.
Shingles, yeah.
So that's why he gets the sleepy sides.
Yeah.
We'll be out.
Those details we'll have to go through eventually.
So the size of these houses won't, what is the overall size you're proposing? Because they look like massive buildings from
around
the square footage.
It'll be around 4,000, 4,500 square feet.
Excuse me?
The first floor square footage of lot 5, 2306. 2,300 square feet.
These are 2,000 square foot houses, all of them. Second floor, first floor, 3,000. 3,500, maybe some of them are 44,000. These are big houses.
Sometimes I think that these very large structures look very sprawling. I think a lot of our beautiful landscape that we've had here in the past has been overcome by oversized sprawling houses. That is a concern for me. It's something that kind of bothers me a bit. And you wonder if it's necessary.
Well, that is in our purview. In our purview, the mass of it is size, the mass, or whatever you want to call it, is one consideration we have to take in. So.
Okay.
All righty.
Thank you.
Very good. All righty. So I just agree with everybody on this one, so I'm all set. Alrighty. So where does that leave us, Victoria?
That is it for now. We really appreciate your feedback. We'll take all of it into consideration. This was really helpful. And I know obviously, oh, I see, there's a question.
Very good, and I'm sure that we'll see you shortly.
Dan, if I could add one
Certainly,
more.
Sam. Yeah, go ahead.
This is certainly out of context. It's something that came to me recently when we've been discussing the need for affordable housing. And here we are looking at 5 or 6 sprawling rich man's houses. And I think it's going to not reflect well on us. It's not going to reflect well on the planning board that approved the subdivision. And we should have I have spoken up much stronger that in the beginnings when we first saw the first site plans, that we should have affordable housing and we should have at least some mixed use of different size and affordable housing. We need it in this town, and for us to, for this, I assume they'll all sell and people will be perfectly happy near the ball field, but and we're going to force them to do exemplary landscaping so you won't see the houses. And so anyway, that's enough of what I have to say.
Thank you very much, Sam. Comment well taken. All right, anybody else have a comment?
I would just weigh in with Sam about the issues that he just made. I think the town really needs to consider that in every subdivision or anything, there should be a certain percentage of affordable housing also included. And like I say, I'm not in favor of these large empty houses that are here all year round with no people and no housing for anybody else. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I think actually when you look over from Stage Harbor over across the way and see what's up there, it's just not so unattractive.
Meeting's still going, hon? My meeting is still going. Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. All right, folks, anybody else have any comment? Oh, wait a minute, is there any other business? No?
There is no other business. Any final comments for the pre-application?
Yeah, I just like to thank the board for all their comments. I've been diligently taking notes here, and hopefully we can get something that's amiable to everyone.
Thank you. This isn't going to happen overnight, but I know we'll get there. Thank you so much. All right, Sarah, thank you very much.
Thank you
for making everything
We
flow.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Doug, thank you for jumping in there and correcting me all the time, jumping in when I make a mistake.
We'll have to
Should I
make
make
a
a
motion.
Everybody's on the ball. All right. Sam, I thank you for all your comments. Everybody's doing a wonderful job. Okay. I guess the only thing we're looking for is a motion.
Doug Grant will make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second, Bob Burns.
Motion has been made and seconded. All right, so we'll go through. Let's see, we got Darcy.
Darcy has left the meeting.
Darcy has left the meeting. Okay, Janet will vote for her. Then we got Sam.
Sam Stryver votes approved.
Okay, to Bob Burns.
Bob Burns votes to approve.
Okay, Doug Grattan,
Doug Grattan votes to approve.
Steve DuBois,
Steve DeBoer votes to approve.
Janet,
Janet Whittemore votes to approve.
Dan Silver votes to approve as well. All right, so we are adjourned, Sarah.
We are adjourned at 6:40 p.m.